Welcome back to the channel. This is Gillis TV here right on Clemhawks, and folks, you know what time of the year it is. It is MLB off season and everything is up and being rumored and is coming true and teams are interested in players. It's the time of season besides the regular season and the trade deadline that fans look forward to. It's not your typical other sports where big names stay with the same teams. We talked about Aaron Judge here on the channel, Jacob deGrom. Now we are back with the Mets again, and it's not Brandon Nemo this time. Go check that video out. It's actually Seth Lugo. For the first time in his career, is a free agent after spending so many years with the Mets and their organization. It's new to him, and you might think, well, any team is interested in Seth Lugo. But before we get started, let's hit that subscribe button as we are trying to get to 3,800 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's greatly appreciated. Now, let's get back to this. We think of Seth Lugo, we think as the setup man that's been unbelievable throughout his career. Well, guess what? We are wrong on that sense, as he's been drawing interest from teams as a starter. He has been a starter with the Mets here and there when they needed someone. He's been that really good bullpen arm, even a closer from time to time with the Mets. And, we think of Seth Lugo, and I believe he could be a starter. Age is getting up there, though. We don't know how his body will turn out. So we got an article here by Steve Adams. Right-hander Seth Lugo has reached free agency for the first time in his career last week and has already drawn plenty of early interest as teams begin chattering their off-season game plans. Will Salmon of the Athletic report that more than a dozen teams, but not the Mets yet, have reached out to Lugo. That shouldn't be surprising for consistently solid step-up man. But what's more interesting is Salmon's note that some of those clubs have expressed interest in putting Lugo back into a rotation. Lugo will be 33 this week, has bounced between the Mets rotation bullpen at various times in his career, but has a full has been a full-time reliever in each of the past two seasons. In that time, Lugo supports a 3.56 ERA with a sharp 26.6 strikeout rate and a 7.9 walk rate and a 44% ground ball rate. He averages 94.4 miles per hour on his heater in that time, and Lugo regularly sits near or at the very top of leaderboards for the spin rate on his curveball. Since 2018, Fangraphs runs valuable peg Lugo's fastball as the fifth most valuable four-seamer among 279 qualified relievers. His curveball ranks seventh, just behind Ryan Presley of the Astros. Generally speaking, Lugo has been quite effective member of the Mets bullpen for the bulk of his time as a reliever. In exactly 300 career innings out of the bullpen, the right-hander ERA sits at 2.91. He's fanned 27.9 of his opponents and walked 6.9 of them, relying primarily on the fastball curveball pairing, but also mixing in a sinker, occasionally a slider, and very seldom to a changeup, which he has been working on over the last couple seasons. That mix of 4 to 5 pitches, however, is likely what gives some teams the belief that Lugo could find success in return to a lengthier role. It's also worth pointing out while Lugo struggled immensely as a starter in 2020, his overall body of work coming out of the rotation is solid. He's thrown 194 innings as a starting pitcher in the majors and pitched a 4.35 ERA in that time. His 20.9 strikeout rate as a starting pitcher is far lower than his 27.9 mark out of the pen, but his 6.3 walks rate is slightly better than his 6.9 walk rate as a reliever. Lugo might have struck in the Mets rotation for the long haul were it's not for some health issues that cropped up early in his big league tenure. Most notably, he was diagnosed with a slight tear in his right elbow's ligament back in 2017. Any tearing of the UCL, even in minor cases, leads to the fear of Tommy John surgery. However, Lugo received a platelet-rich plasma injection in his elbow, at the time opted for rest and rehab rather than surgery, and has not incurred subsequent issues with his elbow ligament even in 2021. When he underwent surgery to remove a bone spur from his elbow, Lugo indicated that upon examining the MRI results to diagnose the spur, his surgeon was really impressed with how his UCL wound wound up. Lugo tossed just 65 innings in 2022 and has a career high 101 and one-thirds innings pitched, a total he reached in both 2017 and 2018. As such, is it fair to question just what type of workload he might be able to build up in 2023. If he indeed opts to sign as a starting pitcher, that said, there are surely plenty of teams eyeing Lugo in what has become his traditional late innings setup role, one in which he's thrived over the past several years. Interested as a starter could well prove to be the moot point, but it's a good reminder of the outside the box approach that the number of clubs will take when it comes to building out their rotations. So Seth Lugo, to me, he has the potential to be that guy that, can be a starting pitcher, but I think some teams, more of the teams that are in contention, are calling about him to become that setup guy that everyone's known him to be, that late inning setup guy. That that's what teams want to win championships, and all the better teams are probably calling for that. You're talking maybe the Pittsburgh Pirates looking to see if he's available as a starting pitcher. The lower end teams who might be like, hey, this guy has potential, let's try it out, are probably the ones that are calling saying, hey, you want to be a starting pitcher or not, and so on and so forth. Last season, he pitched 62 games with a 3-2 record of 3.60, 65 innings pitched, and 69 strikeouts with a whip of 1.17. Over his career, he's played in 275 games, 32 and 24 win-loss record with a 3.48 ERA and 494 and two-thirds innings pitched with 508 strikeouts with a whip of 1.16. So his whip was roughly the same, strikeouts the same. He pitched a lot more innings. ERA was a bit up, but when you pitch more innings, of course, it's going to be a bit up. So you're probably going to have one or two innings that it's like, really, why is he out there still? And that's with everyone's pitchers. But let me know what teams you guys think should sign Seth Lugo in the comments. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is Gillis TV here right on Clemox. I'm on out of here.